after the shock of the original shock of Kristallnacht had gone, one anti-Jewish law after the other followed in a quick succession. It was impossible for Jews. They knew it was impossible to go on, and everybody only thought to get out as quickly as possible. It was within the Kulturbund the same thing. And I really want to once more to stress that it was not anymore the Kulturbund, although the name had been preserved. It was an organization forced, imposed on the Jews by the Gestapo, where the Jews had no say and were just had only one thought: to emigrate. Starting from the director down to the last technician.
So if before 1938 there was a certain kind of trend to preserve the stay in Germany, this changed now completely.
Yes, absolutely.
Also in the Kulturbund.
Also in the Kulturbund.
And the Jews still did come to the performances after the Kristallnacht?
Well, not immediately. They drifted back. Not anymore to such an extent. It became, the audience became thinner and thinner. But as long as they were in, as long as they were in Berlin or in Hamburg, of course they went there because they couldn't stand anymore to stay in their own four walls, even less than before, you see. What they needed then, what they got then, was only a kind of escape. Apart from music, which still probably had a different effect on them. Still 1939, the 7th Symphony of Mahler was performed.
This was allowed in Germany? Mahler?
Mahler was allowed.
Why Mahler was really allowed?
Mahler was allowed. He was a Jew. Jewish composers you could play as much
Jewish
as you like.
composers
you could play as much as you like.
Also Mendelssohn?
Also Mendelssohn.
And the Mendelssohn Bartholdy?
Yes, Mendelssohn Bartholdy. Yes, you could. Yes,
you could?
Yes. Jews for Jews.
Jews for Jews. Mm-hmm. Look, I have some other 5-6 questions.
Yes, please.
Before we conclude this very interesting interview, I must say. Because one of my questions is really, Tesha taught me that the Germans allowed the Zionist exhibitions to be visited by German audience. And he stressed it that the Germans could come in and could see the Zionist exhibitions. Really, and you say that all the performances and the cultural activities of Kulturbund were closed for German audience.
Yes. Well,
could you explain this certain very strange difference?
Yes, I want to modify the
Maybe Tesha doesn't remember.
No, first of all, I remember very well the Zionist exhibition because at that time it was 1934, I think.
There were two. There were one of 34, one of 36.
36, I don't remember. 1934, the newspaper of the Zionist organization, the Jüdische Rundschau, you could buy at the kiosk, at the public. German readers who only were fed with Nazis, the Nazi press bought the Jewish paper in order to find out what happened in the Jewish world and what happened outside altogether. This stopped, I don't know when, I confess I don't know when. The public sale of the Jüdische Rundschau stopped at a certain time, and I don't know whether it's 1935 or 1936. I really
Around the Nuremberg laws?
Yes, possible. And I'm surprised that 1936 Jews, non-Jews or Germans were still allowed into Zionist exhibition. I just don't remember. But the Kulturbund was, of course, well, for a different reason, of course. The German authorities were interested in fostering Zionist activities. That you know.
Yeah.
The Kulturbund was not a Zionist organization. Zionist organizations had a priority, had kind of privileges. which other organizations had not.
Because of their intention to bring about immigration of the
No,
Jews?
for two reasons. First of all, Zionism meant that there's a Jewish nation which is not identical with the German nation. So the Nazis agreed with the Zionists. There's a Jewish nation. Jews are not Germans. Fine, that's what the Nazis always say. Number two, because there's a German nation, there's Palestine. There's a Jewish nation, there's Palestine. Excellent. We'll help the Zionists as much as we can, because it's just the trend which we want to let them leave Germany, let them have their land in Palestine, let them live there, let them leave for Palestine. For these two reasons, the Zionist organization, Zionist work had always privileges. And I don't remember the exhibition to which Tesha refers, but quite possible that for this reason.
The Zionist exhibition was opened also for the Germans.
Mm-hmm. Because in order to see, you see, there's Jewish people, they want a land of their own. Mazel tov, let them go.
But the same Hinkel was responsible also for supervising this.
No, I don't know. No.
Yes, he told me about this. Hinkel was responsible also for
the exhibition.
For the supervision of the exhibition.
Well, because usually the Zionist work was Zionist activities were not the realm of the function of Hinkel. Maybe the exhibition was. But Hinkel knew very well what is Zionist and what is not Zionist and what is assimilationist. He was very well informed. He knew his job.
Another question, it deals with the image, self-image of the Jewish actor. And I have the impression that many Jewish actors didn't want to leave the Kulturbund and to immigrate at the beginning, not later, but the first years, because they were afraid of the image of an immigrant. An immigrant, and it's very difficult especially for German Jews, to leave their established milieu, the established home, and to go somewhere where there is no security and no possibility to continue to be an actor. I even remember the image of the Yeke here in the Mended Palestine. It was very difficult when it was Jewish homeland, for the German Jews to integrate themselves in other populations.
Now, the problem of the Jewish actors, I think you must consider separately. Actors have a very unfortunate profession. Their profession is linked to a language. Linked to a language. A German actor speaks German till he learns a new language in which he really can express himself in a way an actor has to express himself. May take a lifetime. These people were not all youngsters. An actor in his 20s may have considered immigration because in 3, 4, 5 years' time he thought he would be learning English so that he could go, to Hollywood or to Broadway. But what should a Jewish actor of 40 or 50 years do, whose lifetime has been on the German stage? He couldn't change anymore his language. I mean, language for an actor is it's part of himself. Cannot change anymore.
But some of them changed.
Some of them made the big leap. The big jump succeeded, of course. I mean, Elizabeth Wagner performed in London and later in America. And Kaufman did it.
Marlene Dietrich?
Marlene Dietrich, yes.
She was not Jewish, but
she was no. I mean, we are speaking of language. Yes. Marlene Dietrich did it, but I know also some others. But a minority, small minority. You see, you have to be. Marlene Dietrich at that time was a star because it was after the Blue Angel.
A world-known star.
Yes. After the Blue Angel, is a different thing. These, we are speaking of average actors, not the number one superstars like Marlene Dietrich and Elisabeth Bergner, even Fritz Kortner. That's what they do. Hundreds, thousands. There were 4,000 or 6,000 actors, Jewish actors in Germany, of whom we knew probably 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 by their names, The others were just the ordinary. So of course they couldn't.
They couldn't.
They couldn't. They had to change their, they had to leave their profession.
You yourself were responsible for a part of the activity of the theater. Did you try to influence Jewish actors to try outside Germany?
No, that was not my job.
Not your job, but you met the people.
Yes, I met the people.
No. Others did.
You see,
Kurzinger did.
The thing is this. Emigration was always encouraged. If somebody had the possibility of going to America and even as a dishwasher, all right, let him do the dish better than here. But one knew that he wouldn't be able to go back to the States.
That happened after you later, not 1933-4.
No, but even there were people also leaving the Kulturbund in 1935 and 36 and 37, I mean, before the Great Panic. And hardly anybody. I mean, I knew some of them. I met some of them again in London, I went to London. I mean, I myself left Germany for England and met them again in London. 3 or 4, I remember. They had a little, very, very, very shabby existence. They had a little cabaret of their own. Little cabaret,
Yeah.
And where they performed in German language. And later they learned English, and I remember having seen them in films and so on, not as stars, but they, all right, 3 or 4 of them.
So I also understand that for the youngsters in Germany, it was easier to agree to the idea that you have to change and have to leave Germany in order to establish yourself somewhere else.
Definitely. This conviction, so to say, filtered through, I would say, 1935, 1936. By 1937, it was so firmly established that emigration was foremost on everybody's mind.
You talked about the hectic atmosphere in youth circles, 1935.
Yes.
Would you say that this hectic atmosphere was created for the more adult generation only 38?
It came later, yes. It came later.
Also among actors and in your circles?
Yes, it came later. It was a question of generation. For young Jews, it was quite clear very, very soon, 1934, I would say, there's no place anymore in Germany. There's no future. There's no future. Because even the most optimistic German assimilationists thought, all right, we can just maintain our positions here. I don't know how long, but anyhow, we hope to maintain them. For the next generation, it was quite clear there was no room. And therefore, these hectic activities of retraining, of what we call in German Umschulung, and learning languages and learning different professions, you see, agriculture or trade, I don't know, technicians and so on. Yes, that was always with the idea either to go to Palestine or to go to America or to Australia, which categories are possible, are being accepted in America or Australia or Canada, which trade, which profession. That was in the whole. No, that began very early, I mean 1935.
German Jews.
German Jews, but among the younger generation.
In the adult generation, it began only.
I wouldn't say began, but the process was much slower. You see, much slower.
Now I have still some other questions which came out from your book.
Please.
One is really, you were talking about the so-called Hinkel-Kareski
that's very impressive.
Incident.
Yes.
You didn't, this whole thing about Kareski is very controversial even here. But Hinkel, as we see, even in the Kulturbund, tried to support Kareski. And,
For a time, yes.
For a time. And how did it come about, and why didn't it last?
Because why Hinkel, so to say, retreated?
Yeah.
He felt that the whole, you see, that was one of the very few occasions where German Jewry made a stand.
Yeah.
You can have Kareski, but you won't have anybody to play. He could go to the stage and sing a solo.
Kareski. So he was hated?
Yes. Hated, I wouldn't say, but...
German Jews considered him a Nazi agent?
No, I wouldn't say this. But Kareski was a man who was hungry for power. He was a revisionist, you know this. I mean, as far as Zionism...
He tried a certain kind of Machtergreifung in German Jewry?
Yes, absolutely. He was on the other side of the Zionist organization. He was as I say, a revisionist, and a man of great, how shall I say, strength and energy and a dynamic man, and he wanted to become the commissar of the German Jewish cultural activities in Germany. And Hinkel thought, that's my man, you know. What do I need, this wishy-washy singer and bab and so, you know. He will show the people what it means, you know. And there was a complete general strike, you know, never declared, but threatened. And Hinkel had to choose between closing down the Kulturbund, with Kareski standing in front of it, or having the Kulturbund going on without Kareski.
And he made up his mind.
He had no alternative at that time. You see, at that time, the people don't always forget that it was not the years 1941 till 1945. At that time, the Jews resisted. And,
but Israel didn't resist many times. There's you said as the single case you remember when they resisted.
There was no other case.
Which other case?
There was no other case.
There was no other case.
There was no other case. Because I tell you, and I repeat it, till 1938, till the Kristallnacht, it was a voluntary organization, led and organized by Jews, and they made the program, they made the repertoire, they decided what to do, always subject to the nose of Hinkel. Hinkel never said, you have to play this. He only said, sorry, you cannot play this. It's a great difference. Great difference. But here you had suddenly quite a reverse decision. This man will be responsible now for everything, and everybody said to the Zionists, because Kareski was not a member of the Zionist organization, he was a revisionist, he left the Zionist organization, and definitely the other strata of German Jewry said, no, I'm sorry, we don't play anymore.
And that was the end of the song.
It was, yeah. But he was not a Nazi agent, I wouldn't say this.
You wouldn't say that?
No.
Because...
No, I wouldn't go so far, no. It was a very unpleasant interview which he gave to the Angriff, to the paper of Goebbels, to the evening paper of Goebbels in Berlin. But he... And
the Angriff was allowed to interview him?
Yeah.
That's very interesting for itself, because I don't think that once the Angriff interviewed other Jews.
Not that I remember, no.
You remember?
No, definitely not.
Not Rabbi Leo Beck and not other?
Definitely not, no. That was it. He wanted to confront the Jewish community with a fait accompli. It wasn't the Angriff, you know. It was a trick by Henkel, you know. But it didn't succeed. But really, that's a great difference, and I really want to. Maybe I didn't write it ever, but I want to repeat it. The Nazis never said you have to play this piece of music, you have to play this drama, this play, you have to give this lecture. Never. And that's a great difference. They only said, no, this is not possible. This is not possible. This you have to change if you want to. And the Jews decided what to play, and what to lecture, and which pieces of music, and which art exhibitions, etc.
So I come really to my concluding question. And I take the question from your book.
Mm-hmm.
You said in one of your chapters, das geistige Profil des Kulturbunds in Köln ist nicht klar umrissen. Let us translate into the English.
Yeah.
How the spiritual profile of the Kulturbund in Köln, in Cologne,
Yes.
is not completely clarified.
Yes.
Well, I from here want to ask you, was the spiritual profile in Berlin of the Kulturbund, in Berlin or Hamburg, really
In Berlin, yes.
in Berlin,
Yes, I understand.
clarified
I
and
understand.
very clear?
I understand.
That's my concluding question.
Yes, I understand your question. In Berlin, which was after all the center of the thing, there were certain trends to clarify. I must say now, in retrospective, I doubt whether these trends were successful. But there was a certain policy which was laid down after discussions and conventions and meetings, which was a mixture which was tolerable between Jewish plays, successful or not, Eastern European origin, one or two translations from the Hebrew, Jewish plays of German Jewish authors, Stefan Zweig and others, and European theater. A mixture which changed from time to time, but a clear policy. The same applied to the musical programs. Not only Beethoven, but contemporary Jewish composers. Contemporary Jewish composers were played by the orchestra. Such trends or such policy was not recognizable in Köln, which was more, how shall I say, entertainment or more not thought out, you see. By the way,
More pragmatic.
Exactly. Well, we played a stage adaptation of Reubeni by Max Brod, you see.
King of the Jews.
Yes. These things, not a very successful adaptation, but anyhow, there was a policy, and this policy was lacking in Köln. It was not so bad in Hamburg. I mean, Hamburg tried hard to do such things. And therefore I said the profile was not so clearly marked in Cologne as in Berlin. And in conclusion I would say really, and it was, I dislike this word terribly, this word I mean heroic, but if one, without any being pathetic to say, it was quite a, the heroic thing about was to go on playing in spite of everything.
It comes to my mind another question, if you allow me, an additional one. Mm-hmm. The German Jewry had some spiritual leaders, let us say the Reform, Leo Beck.
Yes.
The Orthodox people, Joseph Karlebach, rabbis.
Yes.
Well, did there exist a certain contact between these German Jewish leaders and the people active in the culture?
Yes, with Leo Beck, definitely, yes.
But the Orthodox Jews not
Orthodox Jews not so much, no. I mean, look, first of all, I'm not an expert in Orthodox Jewish,
Yes,
Jewish Orthodoxy, but
You see, this-
I don't think that Jewish Orthodoxy has any link anywhere to theater, I mean, as such. Maybe individuals, but as an organization, as a community, there is no, I don't think I don't see any connection. But Leo
By the
Baker-
way, they came to the Jerusalem theater here in order to listen to religious music.
That's, yes.
Organized.
Yes, organized, I see, yes. But Leo Baker, of course, was very helpful and very helpful.
And interested you.
Helpful and interested, yes.
But the Orthodox Jews,
I don't remember, I don't want to generalize. I don't remember any individual who made himself felt. No.
They found the cultural fulfillment in the synagogue.
Exactly, that's it, yes.
so it means that the Kulturbund acted especially for the Reform Jewry and for the young community Jews.
I don't know whether or not individual Orthodox Jews went to the theater. That's a different thing.
Yes.
But to be active, leading, they were probably quite happy. I can imagine to listen to Beethoven. Why shouldn't they? Or to any other composer, or even to go to a play by Sholem Aleichem. But, or maybe even to Priestley or to Molnar or to Ibsen or to Sternberg. I mean, there's no, I don't think there's a ban on it. I'm not so. But leading, forming, helping, that I don't remember.
Central Orthodox personalities were not involved.
No.
But Central Reform personalities were involved.
Yes.
As Lubeck.
As Lubeck, yes.
As Lubeck. Okay. Look,
Well, thank you very
I have to
much.
apologize
No,
because I really tired you very much.
You didn't tire, and it was very, very nice to talk to you.
And
you
you were very doubtful if you have something to talk about after
Yes.
you wrote the book.
Yes.
But I really tried to read your book very carefully.
Yes, well, you did, as I noticed from the questions.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to be
Thank
with you here.
Thank you very much. It was
And
very kind of you.
I learned a lot. Thank you.